Hey guys, what's up? Unexpected video here. Coming off UFC Singapore at the weekend, which is a fairly good weekend. Profitable, which is always good. A couple of weird picks that I made, but altogether a fairly decent week. Since then, I've received about seven or eight messages from you guys asking about giving Dana White Contender show picks, and I've literally I'm on holiday this upcoming week, so I usually don't really even make picks. I do watch it. I usually get home when the fights are starting, and I watch a little bit, but I usually go to bed because I'm up very early the following morning to do daddy duties with my daughter. But I got a few people that were asking me to give picks, and usually I don't have the time to go ahead and look at odds or anything, or look at fights even really. I haven't got the opportunity, but the last few weeks I have picked a couple of guys out and seen what was going on with them. So like I say, I got those messages. I thought I would make a couple of quick picks for you guys. I went ahead and watched fights yesterday, and pretty much watched the majority of fights today, and I went ahead and actually made a couple of bets. Now, this is a usual thing for me when I'm on holiday and I've found a bit of time and I can relax. I usually go and make some bets as well. I'll probably be making another bet later on this week for Bama show that's in London this Thursday night. So I'll probably be making a bet on Reese McKee there. But like I say, I've made two kind of unexpected bets for this one. And it's always nice to go out and check out the upcoming talent on the horizon coming into the UFC. I'm a big fan of Dana's show. I think they need to get rid of the Ultimate Fighter, even though I am still a fan of the Ultimate Fighter, really. I've always liked the show, but I think it's kind of hit its limit and it's hit its peak. It hit its peak a long time ago, and it's just kind of slow dying death now for the Ultimate Fighter. And Dana's show is definitely something I think will be very, very good going forward. I thought last season of it was very, very good, and the start of these last 2 weeks, we've seen some exciting fighters come through. So quick picks here. I'm going to go through them really, really quick, hopefully within 5, 10, 15 minutes possibly. But we're going to start off in the middleweight division. We have Tim Caron, 9-1, facing off against Jordan Williams, who is 7-2. And some quick odds here. We have Tim Caron is the -125 favourite, and Jordan Williams is the +105 dog. So ultimately, this was the very first fight of the night, so ultimately I started from the bottom up, which I usually kind of do with a lot of my fights. And at the time, I think I saw Jordan Williams, like I said, I never really did that much. Yesterday, I did more of it today. I think he was +170. I thought, that's quite interesting. So I went and watched Tim Caron's fights, watched him against, I think it was Buck Pinow. There was a couple other ones. It was his last fight, obviously. And when I seen that, I was like, does this guy really deserve to be that big of a betting favourite? I wasn't too sure. He won that fight against Timothy Woods, where the guy pretty much slammed himself and knocked himself out. Mitch Whitesell was another one that he won via submission there. I saw the fight for that. So he's lost to Jordan Young. Jordan Young's a really talented fighter who fights in Bellator. And nothing that really kind of just stuck out to me. I thought he was just a good, solid pro for that region, for where he comes from. And then I went and watched Jordan Williams. And this guy, I was really impressed with him. I thought, there's no way the line should be what it is with this guy. And I like what I was seeing. I think there was a great story in MMA Today, I think it was, that my good friend Nolan King, who writes for them, did a write-up on him. Guy's got diabetes, and you don't hear too many fighters with stuff like that. And really, when I watched the tape, I thought, really good kid. Fought last time out in Bellator, won via second round TKO over Brandon Hester, who was undefeated, I think, at the time. Alex Lopez, he came out there, just starched him with some big left hooks. Not big left, but big left shots straight down the pipe, knocked that guy out in about 20, 30 seconds of the first round. Lost to Dwight Grant. Now, Dwight Grant, I think, got himself a contract. I think it was week 1 against Tyler Hill, if I remember right, and he fights out AK, a really solid fighter himself. Jordan comes out really quick in that fight, hits him with a few big shots, and looks to have him on kind of Queer Street a little bit. Dwight pops him with a shot. He never really fully recovers from that, hits him with a big overhand right, puts him down. So he's faced some really good pros. And when I was watching, I was like, I think he should be the favourite and Tim Caron should be the underdog. So I took a 1.5 unit shot on Jordan Williams to win the fight. I think he will knock out Tim Caron. And so that's my pick there. I like Williams for a TKO. Jamall Emmers against Julian Erosa. Now, we all know who Julian Erosa is. If you've been around long enough with me, you've seen me break down his fights. And a former tough guy. He was a UFC veteran. He's won UFC fights. And he lost UFC fights. And obviously that's why he got the kick out of the UFC. Did fairly decent on the show. Came in the UFC. Did okay against the opposition that he was up against. Ultimately, that kind of led to fights. He got knocked out by Artem in the show. Beat Marcin Roszek. Marcin's okay. He's a good fighter coming out of Poland for the level that he was at, and then got knocked out by Taruto. So what you have to do with this guy, you have to find the chin. Big power shots. He went out in the regional scene. He beat Austin Springer, who won last week in the Dana White show. Really, I think he got the raw end of the deal against Paddy Pimblett, and I'm a fan of. I like Paddy. I think he's a fun guy. But I think probably Erosa should have got the decision in that one there. Went out and faced this Julian Justin Harrington, beat him in the first round, and then rematched him and knocked him out in the first round after. So that was a weird one. Lost to this McIntyre guy, which was interesting. I went and seen that, and he got knocked out in the first round. So the clear path to victory for this guy is, and he had a couple of fights since Eric Sanchez and Brian Nuro, which he won. He won the Sanchez one in the second round with a TKO, and then won by decision. Went a full five rounds there. So what Jamall Emmers has to do is find that chin. I think he can do it, but he's not a prolific knockout artist. Now, Jamall Emmers is the guy I've knew about for a few years. Seen him fight Thiago Moises. This is where he really crept on the scene for me. I think it was back in the RFA days, and he got knocked out in the 5th round there. But I thought he gave himself a really good go in that fight. And since then, he's kind of progressed. Beat Rivaldo Jr., Corey Sandhagen, who's in the UFC now. He's got a couple of really solid wins. He's got wins over guys that have been in the UFC and guys who are currently in the UFC. If you go back all the way to the start of his career, he beat a certain Alexander Hernandez via split decision. Now, that's the guy that came out and absolutely starched Beneil Dariush. So he's getting a lot of love in the betting lines. He skyrocketed up. I think I seen him over like 285, minus 285 for that one. I don't know what the odds are right now. Let me check that out. The odds are Jamall Emmers minus 240 and Julian Erosa is plus 200. I've got a couple of really good friends who like to bet on fights who are really high, and they've max bet Jamall Emmers, and I can see why they've did it. I think that if he can't find the chin, I think he could easily use his grappling, but I just don't think Erosa's as easy as what maybe they think. But different people see different things. So I'm going to pick Jamall Emmers. I think he's going to win via decision. Do I think he gets the contract? If he doesn't knock him out, I don't think he will. But Emmers via decision is going to be my pick there. Moving on, where are we? In the heavyweight division, we have Gregory Bella against Josh Parisian. When I watched Parisian, I don't think he was that good. Literally, all he does is charge forward and looks to just get into a brawl, initiate like clinches and so on. I don't think he's that good a fighter. I think he's been brought in here. Angel Deanda was supposed to fight Gregory Bella. There was another one before that who I've totally forgot his name, and I just watched a couple of his fights beforehand there. But Gregory Bella was on the show last year against Anyanzwu, and he got knocked out. I think it was in the 2nd round there. So he's getting another opportunity. He went back out in the regionals, beat Travis Wolff, who's a long-time fighter who's probably closing in 100 fights, and beat Derek Brown, beat them both inside the the first round as well, and then he's got his opportunity at Oscar Ivan Cota. That's who he's supposed to be facing originally. Greg Rebello, I think he's just a far better fighter than what Josh Parisian is. I didn't really look into this fight all too much. I saw 2 fights of Josh's, wasn't impressed. I like the experience that Greg's got, so I think he can stop him. So I'm going to pick Greg Rebello. I will pick him via TKO in round number 2 there. I think Josh will just rush into him and he'll eat a shot and he'll go down. So Greg might get, I can see possibly Greg getting a contract. It's weird to see how many people might get a contract. I think it was like 3 last week. And rightly so with some of the performances. But I'm going to pick him there. Next up, 155, we have T. Edwards against Austin Tweedy. And this is where I have my second bet here. Started off watching Austin Tweedy, and he's fighting a lot of those guys from the Midwest who are not good, don't have great records, and looks like he's a bit of a can crusher fighting out of a American top team Indianapolis. Never even knew about that beforehand. So yeah, his last win was over a 14-64 guy that I'm looking at right now, which I'm probably going to look and it's probably going to be different. Jay Ellis. Let's see what this guy's record is. 15-77. Whoa. So yeah, and the one before that was a 12-11, who's now 13-13. So this guy is a legitimate can crusher in the Midwest. He's been crushing guys. That Jay Ellis, he's been around for years and he's faced a lot of UFC veterans. I think Colby Covington was in there, Jeremy Mearshart. There is definitely others that have, off the top of my head, I can't remember. Josh Gilliam, who was out for a long time, used to fight in the UFC. He beat him via submission in the first round. His last 4 fights actually, he's won by submission. I don't think he's that good, personally. I think he's been hyped up with the cans that he's beaten. And we saw that last week with Jordan Wright against Fluffy Hernandez, that Jordan Wright was fighting guys in the Alaska AFC, who had negative records, never won fights. And when he faced the guy and stepped up to the next level of opposition, he got blasted and got put out within inside a minute and a half. T. Edwards is a guy that once I heard about this guy a couple of years ago through a friend of mine. He actually recommended me to keep an eye on him, and I kind of forgot about him a little bit. And then I saw, I think it was 2 weeks ago when I started looking through who's fighting on the show, this guy jumped back out to me again. Now he's 5-1 with his only loss coming via decision. A guy who fights in I think he's in the US Air Force, a wrestler, comes from a wrestling background, went to Arizona State, wrestled there, but he's predominantly turned himself into a striker, and all of his wins are via knockout in the first round. But what I like is he's got that wrestling there to use it when he wants, and he has big power, big fierce, vicious power, big strikes, comes from a great camp, the MMA Lab, and he's beaten guys with decent records. Decent records, I should say. 3-0s and winning records, to say the least, really. Except for his last opponent, who was 1-3. But, yeah. And to be fair, maybe talking out my backside a little bit there, his opponent before that is now 6-8. So, and he got hit with a couple of shots in that fight against Thomas Daniel, where he got hit with a spinning back kick. But ultimately, find a way to get it to the ground and just absolutely starched him. I just think he's a double threat with his grappling. If he decides to use it, I think he can stuff takedowns and just beat him up. I think he will find a shot to put this guy down on. So I'm going to pick, I don't really rate Austin Tweedy. And when I saw T. Edwards at plus money, I jumped in it personally. I thought it was a good bet to make. I hope I'm right about that. So that my second bet of the two is Jordan to start off the card at plus 110, and T is actually he was plus 110 as well. So 2 underdog picks. I've tried to see if I can work that one out. He's actually went up to plus 125 now. So yeah, I just thought I'd take the shot. I like what I saw on the tape, and don't think he should be the underdog to this guy, but like I say, different people see different things. And in the main event, we have Antonina Shevchenko. You may recognise that surname, against Jaymee Nievara. Nievara honestly doesn't look that great a fighter either. She kind of comes forward, and all she really does is pitter patter clinch. Not good. Antonina should really beat her ass here, but she's not a fighter that really knocks people out. I think she's a very precise striker. I think she picks her strikes very well. Like I said, her sister is Valentina, so the fighting's in the blood with this one. She's never won a fight via knockout. She's always won her fights via decision. I think she's going to completely outclass this girl if she keeps on the feet, which I think she will do. And yeah, I just think she's going to outclass Jaymee Nievara. I mean, she beat what's her name, Frausto, I think, way back. But since then, she's been fighting Katie Collins. Is actually that one that I know of that she beat last time out via decision. One via choke before that against a girl who I think it was a first pro fight. So yeah, and that win, what was it? Frausto. That was it in Bellator. I found that fight as well. So yeah, I think Antonina should just outclass that everywhere the fight goes. Predominantly on the feet, maybe not in the clinching and the grappling, but I think she could probably hold her own with the girl there. So, but she's a better striker, and I think she will make that count in this fight and just really beat her up a little bit. So that's my picks for Dana White Contender Series Week 3. Now, this is something I was not planning to do because, like I say, I work quite a lot of hours, but I am on holiday for the next week, and people have been messaging me and asking me to make a couple of picks and asking me about it, so I thought I would come and do it. Hope that's okay for you guys. If you want me to continue to do these and try and find some time to watch some fights, now I'll hold my hand up if it gets in where I'm back to my normal working week. I can't watch as much fights as I would like. Then I'll hold my hands up, and I don't want to sway some people to go bet guys or pick guys based on me kind of half-arsing watching fights. But if you guys want me to continue making these picks for the Dana White Show, let me know, and I will try and find 10-15 minutes where I can talk about these fights, and hopefully we'll see, because we're going to see more of these guys in the UFC, so I'm going to have to start watching, taping them eventually. So now's as good a time as any. But if you would like me to continue to make Dana White Contender Series picks, let me know. I will try and find some time for you guys, and I'll try and put that out, because ultimately I just want to talk fight with you guys, talk fights with you guys, and just just talk fights. That's what I love doing. So I'm looking forward. I'll not be watching the fights live because I have to be up really early Wednesday morning. They start, I think it's 2 a.m. early Wednesday morning my time, so I'll not be up for that because I have to be up at like 6 a.m. on the Wednesday morning. But as soon as I get up and my daughter's playing with every toy imaginable after her birthday at the weekend, I will stream it onto my TV and I'll be watching there. So that's my picks for the Dana White Contender Series Week 3 picks. I'm well into tape for the tough finale. I literally spent all last night watching. Last night there was some crazy line movement and a lot of fights last night. Like crazy line movements from Oscar Pajota being like minus 200, minus 230 to being a minus plus 185 dog. There was just a couple of weird fights like with the odds last night, but I'm well into that. I'm kind of mixing that by going between that and 226. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing right now. I'm going to literally finish this. I'm going to watch tape for the next hour before going to bed. But until next week, or actually I'm probably going to release the tough one this Saturday or Sunday, and then I'm probably going to have to make another one next week because I'll probably not know one of the finale fights. So keep an eye out this Saturday night. I might actually have the tough finale one out, depending if I can find the time again. But thank you for watching, guys. Leave your feedback. If you haven't commented or subscribed, get on it and do so. Comment in the box below. I'll be back. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And until then, take care. Enjoy the fights tomorrow night if you're watching, and if you're betting, hopefully you cash those bets as well. So take care. All the best.